Welcome to Secrets from the Saddle podcast. I'm Sylvie Dow, your host, fellow cyclist, bike club founder, cycling coach, bike race junkie, just truly super passionate about cycling. My journey with cycling started 20 years ago when I opened a spin studio, started a women's race team, and founded a women's only cycling club called Cycle Fit Chicks. I'm super thrilled to reveal all aspects that make the world of cycling operate. I'm so excited to be able to bring you interesting people from around the world, pro cyclists, recreational cyclists, coaches, event organizers, bike shop owners, everything and everyone you need to know or ever wondered about when it comes to cycling. I know you'll enjoy this episode. All right, everybody, welcome back to Secrets from the Saddle, All Things Cycling podcast with your host, Sylvie Dow. And we have the amazing Donna Price here with us today from New Jersey. And as mentioned, she has created a women's group called BikeWomenBike. And we're super excited to have her here to talk to us about it. Welcome, Donna.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here.
Thanks you. Awesome. All right. Well, let's get started. As you know, guys, as my listeners, we always start with the first question and only question is, how did you get into biking, Donna, cycling, and how did it lead you to creating this woman page and your book and biking across the country? How did you get into it? So
Cool.
Tell me you had a banana seat bike. Did you have a banana seat bike?
Of course I had a banana seat bike.
She's the banana seat bike generator. We have to do something on that.
This could be a long story.
Yeah.
So I started on my banana seat bike.
Yeah.
Way back in the day. No, so I grew up outside of New York City in New York State, and what was called upstate then, but it's not very far upstate. And when I was a teenager, I biked to my friends' houses, and they were like 10, 15 miles away. And then we would bike to the mall, or we'd go on a bike ride. So there was days where I was coming home and I'd biked 50 miles kind of thing, because I'd ride them back home and then I'd ride home. And so I loved cycling, even though I also loved driving a car. And early as a teenager, did a 1-week bike tour. Actually, here in New Jersey, where I live right now, I had no idea I was moving to where I had gone on a bike tour years and years before that. So I've found like cycling has recurred in my life. Like I went to college and really didn't take a bike with me for some reason, and then bought a bike and started riding in Buffalo. I went to college in Buffalo and then kind of stopped biking, and at a point in Buffalo decided to ride a bike again. And a friend of mine was in a bike club, and we went to a club ride, and I actually met my husband on that very first club ride. Didn't know it then, of course, but went on a club ride on my brother's bike. My brother is like 6'3", and I'm not nearly that tall.
I've had those.
And people in the club are like, that bike's a little bit too big for you. So, got a bike and started biking with this bike club. And I started telling them that I was going to bike across the country. And I really have no idea where that idea came from.
How far it was.
Yeah. So, they're like, well, you better come to every ride because you need to train if you're going to that far. And so I started riding probably 6 days a week with this club. So they had rides every day of the week that you could choose from. And through talking about it, I found a bike leader training program through Hostling International. And I went to that and got trained as a bike leader for tours. They told me, your local Hostling International organization can sponsor a ride. So I went and I met with the people and at the board of the local Hostling organization, and they said, yeah, we'll sponsor the ride. So I developed.
Is that Hostel International?
Yeah, Hostling International with the youth hostels.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
We stayed at as many youth hostels as we could across the country.
Oh my God.
created an advisory board to help me like map the route out. And this was maps, paper maps. And I had a little wheel that I would measure the distance with, which is not the measured distance. As we found
Not the most accurate.
as we found out on the ride. But I ended up with an international organization sponsoring the ride and rode from Maine to Oregon with a small group. And so that was biking. And then, life keeps happening, and went for another master's degree for some reason, and got a big job after that, and biked a little bit, but not nearly as much, and refound biking numerous times like after that. And so now I'm in my last time finding biking again. I'm not letting it go. This is it.
But
And
Donna, can I just interrupt you for a
yeah,
second? Can I ask you about that long ride and how many hostels you hit across the country?
how
Like,
many hostels? Well,
so you went from Maine to Oregon. Oregon is the upper
north.
north part of it's above California, right?
Yep.
So you had to go down and back up. How
No,
many
we didn't
hostels?
really, we kind of went straight across, I would say. So we went
Oh, okay.
from Portland, Maine, like through New Hampshire, the White Mountains, the Green Mountains, the White Mountains, the Adirondack Mountains, into Canada, which was pretty flat.
Oh,
Ontario,
you went through Canada. Okay.
through Ontario. Yeah, it was an interesting place.
Boring, like everybody says, kind of boring. Ontario's long.
It was long, and there were no, we expected there to be like 7-Elevens like there are like here everywhere where you could stop and get food, and there was like nothing. Like we had a day in Ontario where we did like 105 miles and there was nothing, and we got to camp and they had like, we had for dinner that night Snicker bars and potato chips, because there was like a town 10 miles down the road, and we were like, no, we are not riding another 10 miles. And we got up early that next day and we went and we had a big breakfast, but it was,
Oh my God.
and from that day forward, I carried an extra meal in my bag all the time, like pasta or something. But you learn,
Yeah. It's like the same with driving and gas, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's like you can't, like, as soon as you see a gas station, it's like stop and fill it up when you're going across
definitely.
Ontario. I didn't
Yeah.
realize. So I thought that you would stay in the States. So that's why I was like, then you went from Maine, you'd be down and then back up. But if you
No,
went through
we
cross
went
Canada.
through Port Huron, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to walk our bikes up over that big, huge bridge in Port Huron
Oh, wow.
because you weren't allowed to ride, and it was too narrow to really ride the sidewalk. So we
Oh
walked it.
God, that's scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess you didn't start hitting the hostels until the States, if you went that
Like,
way.
yeah. We only stayed in a handful of hostels. We stayed in one in Vermont that was called a family hostel. So kind of like a Airbnb, kind of not really an
Hmm.
Airbnb, but a family's house. We stayed in one in Oregon. I think we probably only hit like 3 or 4 or
Oh,
5
wow.
maybe, because there just aren't as many in the States as like in Europe, I think.
Right.
But
Especially then.
we also did the ride was called the Peace Tour, and I had set up service projects at peace and environmental organizations across the
Oh,
country.
very
So we had
cool.
9 of those, and that was cool because it got you into a local community and talking with people that lived in the community. So that was really cool. And it got us
Nice.
off the bikes for a day,
Yeah.
It got us like a warm meal off the bikes, and then we got to do some work for like not biking work.
Yeah.
So
Cool. So then after that, you've got your big corporate job. Is that what you're saying?
I
You
well my
found
background
biking again because I interrupted you there.
I work in nonprofits, and I ran an outdoor education center and summer camp program. And so it was an adventure center doing high ropes courses and We developed a bike trip for kids there, 3-week bike tour and stuff like that. But when you're in charge of the program, you work long days, kind of like a corporate job, and you're on call 24 hours a day. And, so it just didn't, we did some biking, but not like I had been doing.
Yeah.
So, but
now you're retired.
Well,
let's talk about all the fun stuff you've been doing now.
During COVID, I started a job in the biking industry. So I just got more interested in biking and learning how to build bikes and work on bikes, and bought a gravel bike. Hadn't really done gravel. My husband's a mountain biker, but I didn't ever really mountain bike. My kids would tell you she's a road bike snob. And not a true road bike snob, because I'm a touring cyclist. So the road bikers don't really like me either.
Aw.
But
that's where gravel fits in. You can do everything there.
Yeah, so we got gravel bikes. My husband has one, and we've been having a lot of fun riding gravel and doing some of the gravel events, and listening to the bike packing stories and stuff like that.
So how did you come to start your women's group, your BikeWomenBike?
So
it started a couple. Was that during COVID or pre-COVID?
It was probably like right towards the end of COVID. It's mostly because I want people to ride with.
Yeah, it's the easiest way. Okay, I should just make a group and find people.
Yeah. So I started it because I wanted to find people that wanted to ride. And I started like working in the bike industry and selling bikes, found that there's so many women that haven't been on their bike in a long time and are scared of getting back on their bike. And even in the group, people will say, oh, I can't ride with you. You're too fast. And I'm really not that fast compared to people at these gravel events. Like, I can ride faster than some people, but I'm not very fast.
There's always somebody faster than you, that's for sure.
And I can ride slow, so like we've I can ride 6 miles an hour if I have to ride, if that's what the pace is, and like I can ride with you. So I've just been encouraging women to come out and get on their bikes and start, because it's just, as it's just getting on and starting that first mile. And you find like a mile's not that far really on a bike, and by the time you're done, you've gone 10, and you're like, I did 10 miles. And it's like, yeah, you did 10
I know
miles.
you can do even more when you're just not paying attention and chatting with somebody.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So what's going on within the group? Because you say here you've got the group on Instagram, but you've also, what did you say here? A Facebook group, and the women are talking to, and just so how's it working? Like, how many people do you have coming out and cycling with you?
Not that many. Come on out. Northern New Jersey.
Well, yeah, Northern New Jersey. So whereabouts in Northern New Jersey? I don't know how big that is.
So I'm in the rural part of New Jersey, near the Delaware Water Gap National Recreation Area. So it's kind of where New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania all come together.
Okay.
Like an hour and a half outside of New York City. Literally rural. Bears come through the yard, and there's cows across the street, kind of thing.
Oh, rural.
So it's our town has a general store and a post office. That's it. We used to have a liquor store, but no longer. And you can't get much smaller than that.
Yeah, really. The liquor store can't even survive.
I think he survived but he just wanted to retire. So sad.
Yeah, nobody take over a liquor store. Like, I find that weird.
I know, I found that weird too. But so the group is a work in progress, and I keep inviting people to join it and come out for rides and post rides when I'm going to do a ride, and encourage other people to post rides when they're doing a ride. And so it's kind of a hit or miss. People come out, and we have some rail trails here that we can ride. In the recreation area, there's some great gravel some great gravel and some gnarly gravel. And
Yeah.
so that's fun. And yeah. And then there's roads, like it's rural, so you can ride the roads and there's not tons of traffic. And
Are people fairly nice around your area? Like conservative cyclists?
I'd say it's mixed. We have
I think it's like that anywhere, really. You
yeah.
always, you just get one farmer sometimes. I'm not knocking the farmers, but I'm saying sometimes it's around here. We're more rural. Like our gravel starts from where I live and goes north. So majority of the roads back there are all gravel, and they're farmers riding on them and things like that. So you occasionally you catch like a really fast moving tractor going down the road really fast. I mean, those things aren't slow anymore. Holy.
No, they can move.
They can move.
Huge.
And they're huge, yes. And they're usually pulling something pretty huge behind them too.
Yep. Yeah.
So
it's definitely mixed. There's good people and there's not so smart people in their cars.
So what events have you participated in down your neck of the woods?
Our first event was New Jersey Gravel Grinder. And
okay.
So
check into that one.
It was a cool event because it's a race, but we're kind of party pacers. Probably me more than my husband. He would go race, I think. But that one was like segments. So there was only timed segments. So there were signs along the way saying your time segment's coming, your time segment's coming. And then when you hit that, you raced and then you could slow down and party again. So fun. It was a little bit south of here in a very kind of well-to-do area, and it's all gravel roads. So big houses and gravel roads. And I got to go to the women's gravel event out there in Bentonville with Girls Gone Gravel.
Oh my gosh, tell me a little bit about that. I'm connecting with her.
Yeah, that's a great event. We drove. And that was cool because they created a Facebook group for people that registered. And I put it out in that Facebook group that I was driving from New Jersey, and a woman from Rhode Island said, "Oh, I'll go with you." And then I also reached out to some friends here and said, "Hey, you want to go to this?" Actually, the woman that went with me, we knew each other, but we weren't really friends. But now we're friends. We had a blast. We camped.
So tell me about the event. Tell me about like how it went down, like the schedule.
Yeah, they had a welcome party when you got there. That was great, and you got to network and meet people there. And they had rides, like shakeout rides, so we got there Thursday. Friday there was just rides during the day, so we did some of that. And they had workshops during the day, technical kind of workshops, talking workshops. There were mechanics there showing you how to fix things, different vendors in the parking lot with different bikes and products, clothes, bike gear. So that was
sweet.
And it was
shopping
at a park. So there was camping part of the park, and then you could just ride through the park right up to the event. Which was awesome. It's a great event. You should go. Definitely.
Well, I heard about it. So how much further north is it or south is it from you?
Well, it was like a 22-hour drive.
Oh, okay. So that would be even like, where is it?
It's in Arkansas, Bentonville.
Arkansas. Okay. So that's like,
That's far.
It is far. It is far. I'm driving down to Unbound, and that's far, but I think this is even further.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arkansas.
Yeah, Unbound sounds good. And then the other event we did this year was Rooted, Vermont.
Rooted.
And that was a great event too.
Cool.
Yeah,
So let's talk about your book. And
sure.
when did you put that out, and how did you decide to write it?
Well, actually, I didn't really decide to write it. It happened by accident. So I started a business. I'm a business coach, and years ago, back before webinars and Zoom, we did teleseminars, and an organization asked me to do a teleseminar, and I was terrified. So I scripted the whole thing out. Like I wrote out exactly what I was going to say for a whole hour. And it was probably terrible. I probably have the recording somewhere. I should listen to it. But it was,
That'd be good TED Talks. Well, I know they're not an hour long, but
yeah. So it's the story of how I took the old idea of biking across the country and made it happen. And so when I finished scripting it out, I had this like 50-page kind of document. And I was like, well, this is almost a book. And so I just like went through it and edited it and added to it and everything, and ended up with a book that was like, I think it's like 90 pages. It's somewhere up on my shelf here, the first one. And now I've just released it in the 4th edition. So it's like over 200 pages. So
wow. Okay, can you show us the book? Do you have it? Okay, so for everybody, the book is Launching Your Dreams, Make Wild Ideas Happen. And there's a pic. Oh, I love it. So what
it's
makes it a
3rd
third
edition.
edition? What did you add to it from the beginning,
Yeah.
from the
So
first one?
kind of since the first one, I've added, well, people always asked about the bike trip. So I've
Yeah.
added a bike log. So it kind of tells the story of the bike trip, and they're in these like little shaded areas. So you could
Uh-huh.
just go through and read the bike log if you just wanted to read that.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Can you open can you open the pages and show us? So everybody, you're gonna have to go on the YouTube channel to watch or listen to this podcast so you can see exactly what Donna's showing us here.
yeah, it's just kind of darkened.
Oh, yeah,
This is a bike log here.
right.
And then I added a business log. So you could take this process that I used for creating a bike trip and create a business or do a project, or like the process would work for whatever you're trying to do, really.
Right.
So I've just added things that I've learned over the years
Mm.
to release the 4th edition instead of writing a whole new book. And
Right. So you just keep adding to the book,
yeah,
like adding to the pages, not necessarily like not adding at the end, but throughout the book, you've just.
yeah. Yeah, I've added chapters. I worked with a book publishing coach, and he had recommendations of, you should have this in there. You're like, this is a piece that you're missing. And
Oh,
so added those pieces that he recommended, and it's been fun.
so where can everybody find it? Is it on Amazon, or is it, do you have your own website for it?
Yeah, both. It's definitely on Amazon, both Kindle and print. I think all the different versions are still live on Amazon probably. And on my website, compassroseconsulting.com, or on BikeWomenBike, there's a website, BikeWomenBike.com. It's right there on the top of the page, and it takes you to my other website, but it's right there.
Oh, that's why it's here. So I've heard it's better to, I want to say process, but fulfill your own bike, your own book orders, so you can not pay Amazon.
Yeah.
You get a little bit more in your pocket over paying Amazon
Definitely.
stocking prices, but well, that's super cool. So, so you've got I will have the links there so you can go, or you can just automatically go and search it after this podcast episode. But tell us a little bit more about what you're doing now, and what does the summer of 2023 hold for Donna?
Yeah, hopefully lots of good things. We've
You haven't
already,
filled your schedule yet?
no, I have all of the events, bike events that I'm interested in saved in my outside account right now on Bike Reg. And
Okay.
we've registered for one event. I would have to look it up to tell you what it's called because it's like a really weird name. It's like
Aren't they all? Is
Luca
it cow
Lac.
patty?
No, it's not Cow Patty. It's like Lou Lacca. Wait, let me look it up. Lou Lacca Waiko Hundo version 11.
Where's that? Is that close by?
It is. It's near Scranton, Pennsylvania. So,
Oh,
um,
Scranton. I've driven through there
yeah,
many times. Scranton.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, looking at a different women's gravel event that's in Pennsylvania, possibly. Um,
Well, I have a women's gravel event up here in Canada.
yeah, tell me about it. Tell me.
All right. Well, it's July 16th. No, 15th. It's that Saturday, 15th. And it's here in Wakefield, Quebec. So it's not very far. It's like, I'll say 90 minutes over if you go from, oh, what's the crossing?
If I come through Watertown.
Not Watertown. Well, I mean, if you want to jump into Canada, no, I would come up through the Thousand Islands if
Okay.
I was you. So I think that's the 81 or the 91.
Yeah, Watertown
Yeah.
is on
Oh,
our
sorry.
side.
Yes. Yeah.
On our side.
Yeah, and then you would follow to Ottawa and then cross the bridge there. It's not very far. Yeah,
Oh, no.
so I started this last year. It's a women's gravel race, and we had 25 people. I put on like really last minute because I used to my women's cycling club, Cycle Fit Chicks. I've had it for 15 years this year. We started putting on a time trial event with our local cycling organization. And through COVID, it canceled. Well, we canceled it twice or once. And then like last year, Donna, I started doing all these podcast interviews with gravel event organizers.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, and I got a gravel bike not last time, it was summer before, and I did one, and I started mountain biking way back in the day before I did road cycling. So I just got this bug about it, and I was like, you know what? I'm just not into the time trial anymore. It's a road time trial. It was one of the hardest ones because it was hilly. A lot of people loved it. Um, and so I'm like, I just don't feel it. Not feeling it. So I'm like, but I would really like to do a gravel event for women. And so we did it last minute. I used some roads that a lot of people ride on anyways, that are pretty familiar and easy to access from where I live. So it was easy to organize like the check-in, the start, the
Right.
finish, and like, but with 25 people, it was easy to manage.
Yeah.
Um, and speaking of like farmers, at one of the main corners, they took away all my signs.
Oh,
The
no.
night because I set them up the night before the
Ah,
event with my friend. So they took them all down, and not everybody put the downloaded
yeah.
the event. And like you just can't have like volunteers out everywhere. So that's
Oh,
one thing about gravel. I mean, you really do need to have everything downloaded, like
yeah.
everywhere, phone, whatnot. And so after that, I was just like, I want to build it to a festival type, like Barry Roubaix. I don't know if you've made your way up and checked that one out. That
No, I
was my
haven't.
that was my first big one that I
Oh,
went
nice.
to last year, and I'm like, I went there by myself. I mean, I'm like, road trip. I can't wait to get out of my house. Cause remember last year, COVID? I don't know what it was like up here, everything was still like shut down. It's kind of
Yeah.
bizarre how it's like just a year ago, how it was. I'm just like, I don't even know if I'm gonna get across the border. And I'm like, but I'm fucking going. I was like, I'm gonna get tested, and so I have my documentation that I don't have COVID, um, and I went and I had such a good time. Like I
Nice.
organized to meet up with a lot of women from a gravel page. I had my team tent, so I'm like, okay, look for this tent and we'll just all meet there and we can like hang out. And so I got there early. I got a prime spot because that's what I like to do. I'm like, okay. Yeah, and I met some really, really amazing women and I had a
Awesome.
good time. I'm like, I'm coming back with girls next time. I'm like, bringing more women. So, and then I started looking at other things in the States and I'm like, I think more our area needs something like that. I mean, now there's just like they're everywhere.
They are. It's amazing. Like you have to look at like, where do I want to go? Like you can go anywhere,
Mhm.
really.
Yeah.
And there's an event there. And
Yeah. So it's almost like I don't know if it'd ever be like saturated with events. But I feel like in the States, like there's just so many people that it's just so vast. Um, you don't need a ton of people to make a successful event. Um, I don't know, but I'm like, our little area could really use something like that that's
yeah,
here. And so I want to grow it up here. Like that girls gone gravel. I think that's like a fabulous template or role model, like idea to emulate over here.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I didn't
It would
realize
be
it
a
was so
shorter
damn far
drive up
away.
to you. It would be a shorter drive to you than to go all the way to Arkansas.
Well, I'm driving to Unbound. I think that's probably where my limit is. Like 24 hours. That's like going to Florida to my sister's place. So I'm like, okay, I've driven that
Yeah.
far.
No, it's a long drive. We camped the one night on the way out there, and it was like we got in at 10 o'clock. We're setting up our camp. And then on the way
Yeah.
back, we're like, we're getting a hotel.
Yeah, seriously. I know you go in the cheap on the way there. Oh, like I'll sleep in my car seat. And on the back, I'm like, forget it.
Yeah, we went and we got a hotel, and then we stopped at this really cool hot spring place in
Oh,
West Virginia and did the hot spring bath. We made reservations and everything for like a half hour, an hour, something like that. It was
oh, now that's sweet.
it was good. It was we detoured, we went a different route, which was cool too. Like we took a different route there, then we took back and saw a different part of the country, kind of thing,
Hmm.
so that we could hit the hot springs. But
Yeah. Yeah.
your
So
event
it's
sounds good. You'll have to give me the link. I'll look for the link on your.
oh yes. Well, what for Barry Roubaix?
No, for your event in
Oh
July.
yes, yeah. I'm working on it. I'm getting a website done now. I do have a Facebook page, so you can Google Wakefield Women's Gravel Grind, and yeah, and it's going to be up on Bike Reg, so I hear that's the place to put everything. Because you
Seems to
can
be.
like search by like proximity. So everybody doesn't know that you can search by proximity around you and see what's going on. Um, and yeah, so I'm excited about that. I'm hoping to actually work with the ski hill here
Oh, nice.
as the main headquarters for the camping, the music, the eating, the everything.
Yeah, that's kind of how Rooted Vermont was. It was at a small ski place, and
Yeah,
I think they've had camping there in the past, but they didn't last year. So I could be
yeah,
wrong about that. But it was it was a good venue for
yeah.
mm. We rode a little bit of that hill at the end.
At the end. So, all right. So everybody, now if you're in New Jersey, make sure that you go and find Donna Price on, I guess, can everybody just find you under BikeWomenBike, or do you have your own personal page?
Yeah, they can BikeWomenBike. I have an Instagram with that and a Facebook group and a website. So
So there's no reason why you can't find her.
find it
If
all.
you're in the area and you're looking for someone to ride with, she is your lady. And it looks like you could probably even collaborate and go to events together. There's nothing,
Definitely.
there's nothing better than a little road trip to bring people together and have a whole ton of fun. So all her contact info will be on the description, so you can go and check her out. And I just want to thank you again to all of our listeners and to Donna for taking the time to chat with us about her page and her book. Thanks a lot, Donna.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
Thank you so much for spending this time with me on the Secrets from the Saddle podcast, learning more about sighting people, places, and things that make cycling such an exciting sport. I am so glad you stopped by today. Please leave me a review if you feel so moved to do so. I would love to hear your feedback. And if you could take 1 second to share this episode with someone you think would enjoy it, I would be forever grateful. Also, if you could please leave me a review if you feel so moved by going to iTunes and leaving me an honest thought and an honest comment, telling me what you think, and most importantly, tell me what you'd like to hear more of. It would really help me to bring more great, inspiring cycling stories to you. Until then, have an amazing day. Make sure you ride your bike. And don't forget to visit my YouTube channel if you'd like to see the full version of this podcast live.